so crazy. But I
It's a
feel like
struggle,
we
right?
needed
you're trying to
it.
turn on the heater and your
Yeah, we have to.
family's like,
Yeah, it's
"No."
like turn on, turn off, and then we turn it on, and then it's
like-
hot outside. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, turn it off. It's like, oh my gosh.
We had that problem today. All of a sudden, we woke up and we're like, "Why is it so damn hot today?" And it's because it's been like it's warmer than normal. And so somebody turned on the heater, and it was like 76 degrees in here, which for me is a lot in an apartment. Yeah. So I'm just like, no. So then I turn on the air conditioner, and we start freezing. I'm just like, okay, there's no wind.
Yeah, and guys, we're already live. So hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Funny. Welcome to Insightful Faith's podcast. This is another special guest episode, and today we have a very special guest with us, Rafael Fernandez from Todo Wafi, Latin Babbler Show. And I love that name. Why did you guys choose that name?
So they didn't choose it, and they're kind of prisoners to it. So the Latin Babbler Show, actually, I called myself the Latin Babbler because my family always said I talk just way too much. And so I was just like, okay, well, I'm babbling on everything that is from politics all the way down to culture. So, we were trying to make a Latino friendly show, something that, is for Latinos putting together. So we just kind of went with it and created that as like a brand, and it just kind of stuck through. Everybody seems to like it. And so we just everybody else is just kind of riding and dying with it right now.
Yeah. And for everybody who's tuning in right now, Rafael is the founder of Latin Babbler Show, the podcast and the show on YouTube. And then he's also the founder of the digital media news platform, Todo Wafi. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that, because within Todo Wafi, there's also something Latino and something Latina. But of course, we're going to get into that. So how are you guys doing? We were talking right now about the weather. We got these two over there in California. I'm over here in Texas suffering with this cold weather. I'm not used to it, but you guys aren't either, because I know California is also going through some weather changes. How's that going for y'all?
Good.
I mean, so for us, keep in mind that we do have some weather that's like 30 something, 40 something. And on those days, we wake up and we're like, man, I should have just never moved from Jersey. But then, like midday, you get that nice 65 to 70. And you're just like, okay, yeah, Jersey can, kiss my. So, but I mean, she's in San Diego, so it's probably warmer down there. Than it is here, I think, because you guys are closer to like more of a tropical type setting. But yeah, you're freezing, Maria. So we're just,
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's better weather for the chocolatito,
Abuelitas had chocolate. There you go.
Yeah.
We got those blankets.
Sí.
With the tag, what is your print?
Yeah, mine's the leon. Yeah, the lion. The lion.
Tiger,
yeah.
Standard.
They're the best, though. They're the best. I
so
literally
hard.
have two on top of me every night, because it's like, I know, I just can't. I can't with the cold. You guys already know. For those of you who have been tuning into Insightful Bays, ya saben que Maria, it's like cold weather. I do like it. I don't hate it, but I don't like. I don't hate it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
you might as well just move to New York if you're going to be experiencing this.
Exactly. It's like, I'm waiting for snow here, but the snow here in South Texas, it's ice, guys. It's ice. It's not really snow. There's a difference. But I mean, it's all good. I mean, I'm grateful that I have those blankets and that chocolatito caliente. It's perfect weather for like the Latino desserts,
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what you got to take advantage of.
Yes. And right now with the holidays and everything, but okay, let's, enough about this, guys. I feel like I'm a little too excited because of the holidays and la comida.
Everybody is.
Right? It's the best. It's the best season.
2 days. Noche Buenas in 2 days.
Yeah.
Or a day and a half, whatever it is.
Oh, yes. Can't wait. But okay, let's start this. Let's start this interview with Rafael. So, Todo Wafi. How did everything start?
So it started with the podcast. So originally what happened is like right before the pandemic hit, My cousin dared me to do it. I'm not in any way, shape, or form like a public person. I'm a computer geek. I sit behind computers. I program websites all day. And she was like, you know what? You've ticked off the family with your political talk. You really should start a show. We should all do it for comedy. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't we try it? So obviously this was like 2 weeks before everybody knew what COVID was. So we kind of started the idea then. And then like during COVID, we started that process because everybody had, was staying home. Nobody could go to work. And I think it was like in May when we launched our first episode. And then we carried that for like 29 episodes, and we turned that program from just a regular everyday talk type program into a kind of like a cultural awareness type program. We started doing Latin Babbler World Tours, where we started showcasing different, countries from Latin America, something that's going to start again in January. And then, once COVID died down, my cousins, they have regular lives. So they had to go back to those regular lives. And I kind of continued the process. And for me, it was like really important to showcase the culture. And so through the show, we've had, multiple different co-hosts that have come in. We now have a fixture of co-hosts. But then we decided, okay, you know what? Why don't we start sharing articles and start sharing the culture through a written form, through reels and through video. And so we started the media company. And it was originally called the Latin Media Group. And then we realized like every single person on earth that's Latino calls their business the Latin Media Group. So I was like, okay, well, what do I do that's different? And so the word Wafi comes from a term that my brother used to call me when he was a kid. So my name is Rafael. So my short name was Ralphie. He couldn't say it. So it was just Wafi. And so Todo Wafi is kind of like, or Wafi Media, Todo Wafi is kind of like a dedication to him. Because I love my brother to death. So, but yeah, and so we set out to kind of change the game. There's a lot of Latino media companies out there who are owned by different people. For us, we're completely Latino owned. We're completely Latino run. Like our whole staff is Latino, and a lot of them are college students. A lot of them are people who have donated their time. People who have, I guess, given their backgrounds and their stories and their experience to it. And so that's where we are today. We decided we were going to change the way media sees Latinos, from the stereotype, everything to the stigmas. And for us, it was really important to create a company that would kind of share that process with everybody.
I love your reels. Like they're so funny. Like I feel like it's so good to bring in like comedy into all that. Like you're still kind of like educating people, but then you're like bringing the comedy in there. Like I enjoy that. I
mean, look, the whole media company was founded by technically the podcast, and the podcast is a humor podcast. It's not we do get serious, but it's based on humor, and we understand that the audience is very much wanting to kind of get away from a lot of the stuff that's taking place on everyday lives. So we have to add humor in the mix, but our main focus is to educate through that. So we throw a lot of humor in there. We throw a lot of things that, you guys can get entertained with, but at the end of the day, there are articles and things that are very serious that people should really take advantage of because there's a lot of people who put their effort behind that.
What would you say that it's your main goal with all of the media company and everything that you're doing right now?
I don't want to say it without really frowning on others. So like there are media companies out there, but they're like Caucasian owned. So they have departments that are Latino. So for us, it's important to be able to express the Latinidad from the vision of people who are experiencing this in their community. So we are not just entertainment. We want to be community based. And so when we were setting out to create like something Latino, something Latina, and some of the other ones that we're creating, those are community type sites. It's engaging to be able to kind of draw people in. We share their stories. We share some of the reels that they're posting with us. It's our way of kind of giving back or giving a voice. And that is what Todo Wafi is all about. We want to give voices to people who don't normally have the ability to get their stories heard. because that's a story for me from somebody is more important than all the clout that they have stored behind them. That for me is like the most important part of it.
Yeah, like what better than a Latino to share a story that they've actually been through and like the experience and like they actually experience themselves, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think, for instance, we had Carlos. Carlos, you guys know him as the Nostalgia Latino. The guy has a tremendous amount of followers, and people have been using his reels to post on websites and all kinds of stuff. And for us, it was not, it was, we could have just posted his reels and kind of gotten the views and the reach, but for me, it was really important to find out who he was. Like, why does he do what he does? Like what made him start that, and where he was from, and and I got a friend out of it, and because of that, as opposed to just posting up his reel and saying, hey, by the way, this guy wrote this, or this guy did this, he's really funny, go check him out. No, we did a whole interview just to make sure that he got the proper introduction to whatever it is he wants to display, that other media outlets probably wouldn't have given him. So for us, that's probably the main importance of why we created Todo Wafi. And the rest of it is, and you'll see in 2023, we're going to be coming home hard with a lot of these stories that we're going to be doing, and a lot of it is going to be in person. It's not going to be digital or anything like that. We're going to be visiting local businesses. We're going to be visiting local towns. We're going to be visiting local, speaking to actors and so forth in their place of comfort. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to be able to put that together in 2023. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be magical 2023. And you had mentioned about the Revolucion show that you guys started for Hispanic Heritage Month. Could you talk a little bit about that and how you guys are planning to do it again? But I think you said that now it's going to be in person.
Yeah. So Revolucion, for those of you who haven't, weren't able to pay attention to it this time around, is a 30-day all-in full event for Hispanic Heritage Month. There are a lot of organizations and companies that do like, oh, we're going to do this panel, and the whole discussion is about, oh, Latinos aren't represented and things of that nature. And in our case, we decided we were going to make 30 straight days of Latino information, and that was articles that are very personal. We were going to do representation posts. We were going to do interviews. We were going to do panels. We were the only company to be able to do an indigenous panel, an Asian Latinidad panel, an Afro Latinidad panel. We did everything on mental awareness. We did things on Latina creators, businesses, and from that, a lot of people kind of jumped in. We had a lot of partnerships for that. So a lot of the people that you saw on there, these are not, small people. So Basi, who you guys have seen on TikTok, 5 million users, 5 million followers on his account. And that inspired us we're going to do it again. But next year, it's going to be a one-day conference. We're going to start in my old hometown of Miami, where my whole family lives. And we're going to be expanding that throughout the years. But it's our way of giving back to the community and sitting there and saying, look, we want you to come. We want you to feel proud of your Latinidad. We want you to leave as you're a part of it. And nobody can tell you otherwise. No matter what they want to put out there. You don't speak Spanish. You don't dance, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're still Latino. That doesn't take anything from it. And so we're hoping that we're able to, provide an event that is fulfilling and that will leave people con el orgullo to go back into their communities and be able to stand tall and be proud and say, hey, this is my cultura. I'm sharing it with you now,
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. It is, and I can't wait. And you guys will find out about this event. We'll be sharing it at Insightful Babes as well. And hey, we're probably gonna go. We're probably gonna be there. We're gonna be there.
Yeah, they're gonna be there.
She
being modest.
We'll be there, guys. We'll be there. You guys will see it. Yeah. No, this is so exciting, and I'm super happy that you guys are doing things like this. Thank you for doing something like this, because I do believe that our stories are powerful, and I've seen a lot of Latino creators that, you know, they're doing amazing, incredible things. Some of super like inspiring and everything. But like you said, it's like, what's behind all of that? You know, what's your story? So let's talk a little bit about that, since we both have a show, we both have a podcast, and what we do is similar, we could say, because we like to be a voice and share stories. So let's get into that. I want to know, and I wanted to ask you, did you ever have like a hard time telling your own story? And if you did, what was something that, you know, because you did mention that you were like, this is your second interview.
Yeah.
So it's like, what made you want to start being a voice, you know, sharing your own story?
I just felt it was important. You know, people kept asking. It was actually Bossy who after the interview asked me. He's like, "Oh, you do so many of these interviews. What have you been able to share, like who you were growing up and so forth?" And I'm like, "I've never been asked." So, and all the time that I've been interviewing people, nobody has, you know, turned around and said, "Hey, I want to learn more about you." And so I was like, I probably need to go out there and put myself out there, because, you know, for me, I'm more of I want to put the program together. I want to do everything. You know, I want to make sure I have the perfect show, and not so much of going out there and doing the publicity that we have for it. You know, I let all that credit go to the writers and everybody that we have, you know, on our team. So yeah, for me, that was the biggest hardship of that is, I don't normally do it. So I don't normally go out there and just start, you know, spilling out all of my info. So when I reached out to even you guys, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go take a shot. I love their podcast. I love what they do. You know, I think this would be a great place to kind of start the season of this. And so that's my biggest journey right now. You'll see my personal account that I just, you know, put together. It used to be the Latin Babbler Show account. I've converted it to my personal account because it was just way too much traffic. And for me, like, I want to use that account to inspire Latinos to see stories that will help inspire others. So I'm going to be putting up funny, putting up humor, putting up information about my trips or anything that I experience. And a lot of my personal items will be in there, and be sharing a lot of positive message to be able to go there, you know, to kind of share who I am, because I haven't been really able to do that aside from my one sheet bio that we send and put everywhere. So
I feel like it's always hard to like share about yourself, you know, especially like Latinos, we're so used to like keep it to yourself, or like, you know, carita te ves más bonita, like all that. I feel like I could totally relate to that.
It's happened to us before. Like whenever we got invited to like a show and we're like, what? Like, this is so weird. It's so weird because we're used to, you know, being the ones to ask the questions and all of that. So when it's time for you to, you know, answer the questions, it's like, what? I'm sharing about me.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I don't, you know, the biggest thing that's come out of this is because as we grow, obviously, sir, you guys have experienced, some of you guys have been like at events now where there's like, you know, different, premieres and things of that nature. And I think the most uncomfortable time I've had, it was the most joyous experience. Don't get me wrong. It was great. But the most uncomfortable time I had was walking on the red carpet. I don't know if anybody has done it. It is weird. I've never done it. I went and I walked over to somebody who was like, nope, you need to stand right here. There's a bunch of cameras who have absolutely no idea who I am, but they care for whatever reason. They care.
Who are you? What's your name?
So the lady has the name. Oh, this is Rafael Fernandez, and I'm like, wow, she like wrote that down. And so she presents it, and then, you know, there's Getty Images and all these people out there, and so you get on the red carpet, and you're literally like treated almost like royalty on that carpet. They're like, no, you have to turn this way. Oh, yo, mira pa acá. Look over here, Rafael, come over here. And I'm like,
oh my God.
What am I doing?
I'm sitting there walking. I have no idea what's going on. For me, this is a whole new experience. And I finished walking the carpet. I'm like, that was surreal. I'm like, and then you go on the website, you see yourself on Getty Images. You're like, oh, crap, that's amazing. But I mean, all of that has added to like the experience and being able to like, you know, humble yourself to kind of accept, okay, you need to kind of go out there and do your thing, you know, in order to really bring, I guess you can say, the awareness of what you're doing And that's tough for me because, like I said, I was a computer guy. I spent all of my time at a desk behind, with a chair, and it's all new, but it's something that I'm kind of getting adapted to being here in LA now, and it's a lot of fun. I don't. It's not regret. It's what? ¿Cuál es la palabra? Like for me, it's something I will never forget. Es una memoria que se va a quedar forever. Like, and even then, as we get bigger and bigger, as we grow, it's gonna be something I'm gonna cherish.
Yeah. Did you ever like think you'd be doing something like this?
No, never. It wasn't even a thought on my career path growing up. It wasn't a thought of anything of mine. I always wanted to do computers. I always wanted to be a programmer or work in computers or do gaming or whatever it was. It was never a thought for me to be hosting or sharing stories or things of that. And I remember when I first started doing it and I started seeing, we started recording with Shola Maridueña, and we started getting the people from Encanto. I'm like, I don't want to do anything else. Like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah. It's that spark, right? That spark you never knew you had.
Yeah, my pinnacle was Edward James Olmos. Oh my goodness. I was so nervous when I had to. He's like a king, and he's like, I'm sitting there having a conversation. I'm like, I made him laugh. Oh my god, that's amazing! I made him
you're
laugh.
trying to control yourself. It's like we're recording. Stay calm.
He's like, and there's parts where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to edit that out because like I look stupid. I look stupid next to him. He's answering all these really important cultural questions, and I'm over here like. I got this whole nostalgic thing to it, and so it's so refreshing. It's like really new and it's a lot of fun. So, I mean, do you guys have the same? You guys have the same reaction, right? Like you interview somebody and you're just caught in awe. The moment is just so surreal sometimes.
Yeah, and it's hard sometimes to just like control yourself. To everybody who's tuning in, guys, we try to, here at Insightful Base, we always try to like share everything, and we literally do share everything, how we feel, and it sometimes, it gets a little too like crazy at times where we have special guests and we're like, oh my god, like we can't believe we were talking to this person, and then they say something good about your show and you're like, like trying to remain calm. I don't want to look crazy, I don't want to scare them off.
He looked at me and he was like, I love what you got, because we were at La Leaf. We got invited to be press at La Leaf. And so he looked at me, it's like, oh, I remember you from the event. I'm like, it's really important what you guys do, and I really do appreciate, everything that you guys have. And I almost melted. Like, I was just like, I don't know. And I'm gonna have so many issues if I ever get to like interview Salma Hayek. That's I already crushed. And so she and I are gonna be in an interview, and I'm just gonna be like, ooh.
I'm sorry, what?
It's gonna be like, Babbler, you all right? Are you okay, everyone? And I'm like, you so pretty. No, I'm just it's just for me, this is so cool. It's such a surreal experience to be able to get behind here. And people don't realize it does take a lot of work. Like everything from the mics that we have in front of our faces to like the setting, background noises, the editing, and all kinds of stuff. It's not like we're just getting up here and then just putting up whatever.
Yeah.
Like everybody in here is experienced enough to understand that, at the end of the day, there's a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of, I guess you can say, nos cansamos. We get to the point where we get burnt out sometimes.
Yeah.
And we have to take those we're like, okay, you know what? We're going to have to take a couple of weeks off. But the reward is a whole lot better than the exhaustion. I'll tell you right now. And it's, for me, it has been life-changing to be able to do this.
Yeah. I think, like personally, I feel like if it's your passion, it doesn't feel like work. But like you said, we are humans, and of course we get tired. Like even right now, we had to reschedule several times, guys. Like we were trying to like fit in our schedules, and then we would, okay, let's set this date and this time, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, Maria got sick, and it's like, oh, Rafael's sick now. It's like we were trying to like reschedule, but we made it happen, guys. We're here sharing Rafael's story with all of you. But it happens, and let's go ahead and jump into that topic of what are some things that you do, like to kind of like self-care, because like you said, everything, this whole like recording and setting dates and scheduling, it does, get the best out of us at times, and we need to kind of like, okay, relax, stop, take a step back, get better, and then you jump back in. So what are some things that you do? I know you also have a family, so how do you balance everything out?
My family's everything. So my kids, I was a single dad, so I raised my kids to adults. They still live with me. This is our last year together, I think, and then everybody's going to be branching out. But they're kind of like my getaway from everything that we do. We like to experience a lot of things together. So we go on vacations. Like I was just on vacation with my daughter. She bought me this trip to Puerto Rico. And so I spent like 10 days there. And for me, that's my moment in time. The other part is it's going to be weird for those of you guys who are like looking at this 47-year-old guy. I love gaming. So when I'm not,
gamers,
so when I'm not doing this, and I'm a workaholic. So I will wake up at 5 a.m. Well, my people will know. They tell me all the time, you need to get rest. I will work till sickness. Like that's just the way my body will literally shut down on me. But when I do actually take the moment to kind of sit back and get away with it, I will go in and I will put in League of Legends, or I will put in World of Warcraft, and that's my getaway. And everybody knows that when I'm there, they're just gonna leave me alone, and I'm just gonna enjoy my time there and be able to. And whoever comes in, I'm like, get out. No, I'm just kidding.
My time.
I'm not raging. No, but that's kind of like my getaway, being able to experience new things outside of the house, or outside of the office, and then playing video games. Everybody's like, oh my god, what a nerd. But yeah, gaming is cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Games every single day.
Who's that?
My husband, he's always gaming. Like,
see?
It's him. So.
Is he console or computer?
Console, yeah.
Console? Yeah, I'm a computer guy. I used to have a console and they just kept burning out on me, so I was just like, I'm just gonna use my computer.
Damn.
So,
I'm a console girl. It's like
she's like, I'm a PS5.
Yeah.
Did you buy it? You bought it.
I had to. I was like the first one's in line, and everybody was like, all like, how did you do it?
She slept at the store.
Yeah,
she was the one camping out. She had her little cafecito and stuff.
I think I was like 2 hours in line, but online. I bought it online. So I got it online, and I was just there like waiting, and I was just looking at the side for it not to crash. And I was like, please don't crash on me, please don't crash on me. But I was lucky. I was lucky enough to like get one, and I checked out right away and I got it. I was like one of the first, clients who got the PS5. I was super happy, and now I have
insane.
it. And
yeah,
it's an amazing.
And then they brought the price down like $400 from the price that you bought.
Oh, don't even mention that. So let's skip to the next question, guys.
You bought it at peak, like when they only had like 200 units available.
Oh, no.
Yeah, unfortunately, it makes me love it more.
Yeah, it's like a bagel in the airport. For some reason, that bagel just tastes so much better. Yeah, and it's like the worst bagel on earth. But because you paid $7.95 to have a bagel with butter on it, you're just like, oh, so good.
Yeah, no. But okay, guys. Well, now you guys know that we're gamers over here. So that's good. Reach out to us if you're a gamer.
Yeah.
No, but wow, this is amazing. Like all of your journey. Let's go ahead and maybe like what advice would you give to anybody out there? Because you started during the pandemic. We started kind of like during the pandemic, right, Dana? It was back in 2019, summertime. But we had no idea that the whole pandemic was going to happen. We had like goals for 2020. Next thing you know, it's like, boom, pandemic, and the whole like show, podcast, everything changed. We had to go virtually, of course. So, what advice would you give anyone out there if they're planning on starting something? What would you say to them?
Okay, so first, if you're going to start anything, make sure you evaluate what you're about to start so that you're not quitting midway. Because there's nothing that you should start that you're not going to be passionate about. Now, I understand that there's going to be things that you get into, and when you learn more, you're like, okay, this is not for me. That's completely different from what I'm talking about. Podcasting, a lot of podcasts started in the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of podcasts did not continue through that time. And the reason being is everybody feels they can get behind a mic and, talk and do whatever. The problem is that later on you get hit with the production side of it and the marketing side. And it's basically, like a whole business that you have to establish, the brand, the this and the that. And then, and so with anything, make sure you do your due diligence when you're going into it. I'm the type of person who, I'm going to say this to everybody who's listening. Look, every single person who's listening, who is doing a venture, who is just sitting at home doing nothing, you weren't meant to just be you. You were meant for greatness in some way, shape, or form. There's something that you were put on this earth to just be amazing at. And by you not pursuing it, whether because your family tells you, oh, eso no se hace, we don't do it this way. No, tiene que quedarte así, tiene que ser esto. If you want to be an actress, be an actress. If you want to be a singer, be a singer. If you want to be an artist, be an artist. If you want to be a podcaster, be a podcaster. If you grew up and want to do sales, whatever that is, give it 150%. Make sure that you put yourself in a position to be at the top, especially for us. We already start with, I guess you can say, leg behind everybody else in society here in the United States. So when we have to do things, we have to work 18 times harder than the normal person in order to get to that level. I'm one of those people who I always say, in order for you to get the seat at the table, you have to work your butt off. And then once you get the seat at the table, you have to make sure that you're opening up other chairs for other people to come in there. And if for whatever reason somebody wasn't want to give you a seat at the table, build your own table and then invite other people to come in, and create that process that way. And so, just be motivated, take the step. Don't be afraid. It's going to be one hell of a ride. There's going to be some times where you're going to be regretting it. There's going to be some times where you're just going to be like, oh, I'm not made for this. But if you see it through, you're going to see that at the end, you're going to have something that you're really proud of, something that your family's going to be really proud of. But it's not even about your family. At the end of the day, it's something that you can feel that you made a difference, that you were proud, that you were able to pass down a legacy to your kids and maybe start breaking some of these generational chains that we have that constantly make us think that we belong here instead of we belong up there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's my advice. Cógelo y corre. I can't say it any better way than that. Only because of the fact that it's a formula I've installed in my kids. Like, I've always pushed my kids to be extremely independent. I push my kids to go after what they believe in, what they want. And I have one who's a painter. I have one who's a content creator. The other one is actually the mastermind behind a lot of the accounts that we have. So whether you're looking at something Latino, something Latina, what we have now, bilingual pets, Latam, which is, Latin American meals, all of those, he's kind of like the mastermind as to how we do that process. And even some of my own personal content, he's been behind that. And I think for everybody else, push it through. If you want to start a business, dale. Don't let your people tell you no. If they're not going to ride the journey with you, ride the journey alone. So what you got to do is surround yourself with people who care and who want to help you. Yes, he says. That's the best advice I can give. I'm sorry if that was long-winded, but I get emotional when it comes from that, because for me, I feel in our community, we hold our own people back. And, I feel like there's some type of, what do they call that? Guilt to be able to move on to something more than what your family expects of you. Or maybe they want you to be a doctor when you really wanted to be a comedian. Look at Jesus Trejos, who was literally got his degree gave it to his parents, and then it went parked cars at the comedy club because that was going to give him more stage time. Like, come on. And now he's one of the top comedians out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, hazlo como tú quieras. Like, do your thing, you know, and get it out there. And then we'll be here to share your story.
Yeah.
Are we still good?
that.
Diana, I think we're like losing you. Are we? Can
Yeah.
you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. It goes on and off, but as long as you guys are still good, then.
Put a blanket on your laptop.
Oh, what?
It's okay. A blanket.
It's
Just
freezing.
put
A blanket. For it to stay warm.
Oh my god.
All the times that we had to schedule, though, is because Diana was a diva. So, you know, we weren't trying to put her out there, but yeah, man, she wanted yellow M&Ms to be involved in this crazy stuff.
Only the yellow M&Ms.
No, wow. You know, thank you for sharing that advice. You guys, that is like some really good advice and super inspirational, especially now that we get to see so many brands out there. And I love to see it. You know, back in 2019 summer time during like when we started Insightful Babes, there wasn't a lot of, you know, what we see now, people sharing, Latinos sharing their own stories and all of that. Now we get to see that. We started to see that there's more Latino brands. There's more people sharing about their first gen experiences. And that is great. You know, that is great. But everybody has a different story. And I do believe that we're all different. So if you're out there thinking about starting something, but then you think, you know what, there's already Latin Babbler Show, there's already Insightful Babe Show, you know, like, what am I going to do? Hey, everybody's different. Your story matters. So start, you know, that's the good part of like the whole social media stuff. Everybody's different.
And keep in mind that, look, there's a million podcasts out there. There's only a certain amount of them that reach a certain percentage of it. Like, we had to bust our butt. We're like top 2% globally, I think, on listen notes or whatever it is. It took a really long time to get to that point. It took a lot of hard work, but there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you're starting. There's not enough people in the world that these people can take. You know, a company like Me Too, that's another Latin media company, has 867K subscribers on their main account. Well, guess what? There's 32 million Latinos here in the United States. So what do you think you're missing out on? There's another, 34 million Latinos who have no place that they've gone to yet to be a part of on Instagram or on Facebook. So don't feel like, oh, okay, somebody else is doing it. Well, I can't do it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Find a niche, grab onto it, and then ride it. You know, we're doing the same thing that some of these other media companies are, and we found out that for us, it was important to deal with the history and the story side, and that was kind of like the way we wanted to take on it. But we also have a lot of different avenues that a lot of media companies didn't do because we decided to add all those things on there, you know, and that's what separates us from a lot of the people. So you guys do you, like, go out there and conquer and give a name for yourself and be proud for you, your kids, and all the grandkids, toda esa gente que van a venir después, you know, all those things.
Yeah, you know, and guys, we're all here to support each other. You know, here's Insightful Babes, here's Latin Babbler Show. You know, reach out to us. Don't be afraid. We're gonna reach out to you guys. You know, we'll get back to you guys. But yeah, like, it's all about supporting each other. And you know, before we end this episode, I wanted to ask you about your trip, because I know, like you mentioned, you went to Puerto Rico. So how was that like? Because I know you had mentioned that you hadn't visited that place in a long time. So what were your feelings? What did you feel when you arrived?
You're gonna make me get all watery-eyed. My eyes are gonna be sweating. The thing is because, look, I'm right. Give me some tissues. I'm gonna need a whole towel here to. But the thing about going to Puerto Rico, it was such a beautiful gift that my daughter gave me, because like I was there when I was like really young. I wasn't born there. I was born here in the United States, but we went to Puerto Rico. We lived there for a couple of years when I was really young. And so I didn't remember anything about Puerto Rico except for going from one house to another to buy lean bears and things like that. And then being in the United States, I went to go visit Dominican Republic, and I spent a couple of years there. And so I have my Dominican culture really attached to me. I've never had my Puerto Rican culture like right there in the front and center. The last time I visited Puerto Rico was 1997 when I was in the United States Navy, and I went there. You know, we went into the port there, and I spent like a day and a half. So it wasn't enough for me to spend time with my aunt and my cousin. We went to watch a baseball game. So this is the first time that I went there, and like I explored the entire island. I think the only place I didn't reach was Rincon, but we rented a car and we went everywhere. Yunque, everywhere. It was physically exhausting and challenging. I have my heart still there. I like I told my daughter, I was like, I feel like I'm leaving home instead of going back to home, if that makes sense. But the trip was so like nostalgic and so sentimental to me that it's one of those things where I'm like, I was missing 1/3 of who I was, you know, and this trip kind of filled in that point. And it was just so important for me. It's going to be something that guides what we do in 2023. I know that we're starting 2023 with the Puerto Rican World Tour, so that's going to be the biggest thing. Our podcast show is going to be focused on showcasing the people of Puerto Rico. I also got to volunteer there with an organization called Stronger Than Maria, and Miriam, who's just an absolute. She's an angel sent to Puerto Rico. She's Puerto Rican herself, and what they are doing there to help people rebuild from the hurricanes that have like taken a toll there is absolutely phenomenal. And so I'm giving them a shout out only because I was able to sit down. I took her to lunch because it was just so sentimental. So we sat there with my daughter. It was my daughter's idea to go and volunteer. And I gave her the location because we had used Stronger Than Maria as like our source for where to donate. We didn't want it to go to the government. We wanted to go to a local organization. And this woman has my heart. We went and visited this house. The roof was completely gone. This man's furniture is like all the way to the side. You're going to see this in January. It's insane. And they are building these houses, putting sheet metal on the top with wood, repairing these houses. And that is an experience I will never forget. So for me, Puerto Rico was not just nostalgic, but it was soul changing. To be able to kind of not only see my culture from that perspective, but be able to interact with mi gente at a local level, you know, because we here in the United States, we have a different way of seeing things, a different way of believing things. We have a different, you know, the term's not really entitlement, but we have privileges here that they don't have there. And so for me, yeah, it's something that you guys will see come January. Everybody will see what we were able to kind of do, and we have, you know, posts and everything that are going to be ready for that. But yeah, it was a trip I will never forget. And if you see me talking a lot about it, it's because I could literally go on for days about that trip.
Yeah, that's amazing. I wanted to say that, you know, we're going to leave all of the information here for Stronger Than Maria. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Stronger Than Maria.
Okay, that organization, we're going to leave all of the details on it on this description because I do feel that it's something that is still, you know, important. And a lot of people don't know about the situation right now over there. So if we can help out, hey, why not? Especially right now with the holidays coming up, guys. You know, we're here to support each other. And also, I do find it super amazing that you went to Puerto Rico again, and you know, a lot of feelings going on right now. Rafael's crying, guys. I'm joking.
I'm like, I gotta turn around and be all like
with the water actor right now. Actor mode. This is what happens, guys, when you start interviewing a lot of actors.
I mean,
we get into the acting.
I don't know if I qualify in that status. My daughter, she's a professionally trained actor. She's been around and do what I do.
You know what? We're gonna bring her along to give us some tips right now, guys. We need them here. Podcasters need them. Wow, no, this is amazing. I'm so glad that you were able to make time and be here with us and share your story. The advice you gave was super inspiring, and I hope you guys are inspired, because I know that I'm inspired. Diana, are you inspired, Diana?
I'm like,
Oh yeah, it's like, let's set our goals for 2023. Let's start everything, Thank you so much for everything that you do with your brands. Like you said, we're not here to compare each other. We're not here to, like push everybody away because we have brands, and it's like, no, we're here to build each other up. We're here to support each other.
100%.
So let us know, where can our people reach out to you?
So if you want to reach out to me directly, it's at Latin Babbler. That's on Instagram. That's my main source for communication. If you want to reach out to the business itself, it's at Todo Wafi, TODOWAFI. If you want to just get entertainment, that would be at something Latina, at something Latino, or if you're interested in pets, then go to Bilingual Pets. That's our newest one. It seems to be funny. But at Todo Wafi is our business. You can go to www.todowafi.com. That's where you'll see a lot of the articles that our writers who look. My team is just top notch. Like these are people who I will live or die with. I mean, I ride with them all day, and I'm so proud of them for everything that they put out there. But yeah, for me personally, it's at Latin Babbler, and I look forward to chatting with you guys and being able to communicate. I answer all of my messages and try to do my best to give it time.
This is what we do. Go for it.
I wanted to say thank you for putting yourself out there, because I feel like a lot of people need to hear your story, and they need to see you, and just all to share everything with everyone. So I just want to say thank you. And I know it's hard, because especially if you're used to just being in the background and chilling. So yeah, I'm super grateful for that.
No, I'm the one that's grateful, because it's platforms like these that allow us to kind of be able to do that.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at what you guys do at the podcast, I was like, okay, this is a place that I would feel comfortable kind of starting this journey on. And so that's why I reached out. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna start here. I love what they do. We have similar people that we've talked to, like Adasa and stuff like that. We both have been supported by, and so for me, I'm eternally grateful to both of you, Diana and Maria, for giving me the opportunity to kind of share my part in all of this process. So
of course, everybody's welcome. Gracias a ti for being here, for sharing your story. Like Diana said, it's super important to be a voice, and this is what we're doing. This is what Latin Babbler is doing, and we're super excited for all of your shows, all of your events coming up. Please keep us updated so we can, we'll be there at the event, guys. We'll be in Miami, guys.
So for those of you guys who don't know, so Revolucion, all the information will go up in February. Right now, we have a marketing team, a bunch of interns that came in, and they're working really hard to get that all together and start it. But starting in February, we're going to be giving at least the first wave of where you can kind of get passes and things of that nature. It's not going to be a little event. There's going to be a whole day of panels. There's going to be an after party. There's going to be a headliner.
We're Latinos, guys.
We're going to go all in. There's going to be food. So, we're going to be, the only thing you got to do is you got to get your butt to Miami. But who doesn't want to go to Miami?
Right?
We'll be there.
It's one of those things. But yeah, so it's just one of those things where anybody who's interested in participating in that, February is probably going to be the day where we start giving out detailed information on it.
That's awesome.
All right, and you guys will hear about it. But thank you so much, Rafael. Thank you for being here with us. You guys, this episode will be on YouTube and in all of our podcast platforms, and we will be also aware of that event and everything that's going on. Guys, if you have that dream, como dijo Rafael, just go for it. Just go for it. Pero bueno, cuídense mucho. I know it's kind of cold in some parts here, so ahí calientitos todos. Mainly me over here in Texas. If you're in Texas, guys. Yeah. Take care, y'all. I'm super happy we were able to do this.
Merry Christmas.
Amazing. Yes, thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.